The title of paper is History of Maharashtra 1818 to 1916. Dear students, this year for the first time we are delivering guidance notes on the audio visuals to the postgraduate students. Obviously, these notes are not descriptive or substituting the other reading material which deals with history in details or deals history in various perspectives. These notes are intended to guide you about the approach to study of regional history, that is history of Maharashtra. Along with these notes, we are providing the list of reference books, guidance of objectives and learning outcomes and selected questions for the self-study. We are conscious of the fact and therefore impress upon you that even this is not enough for proper understanding of history. The concept of history has been inevitably changing from epoch to epoch along with the change in the life of man, the expanding span of his perception and the methods man would adopt in different epochs in building the human society. New material and new devices, methods and means are coming forward for researchers. Let us now turn to the content of this paper. This will bring you to notice the following important points. You have to study history of Maharashtra between 1818 to 1960 on the political background, but you have to understand social, religious, national movements in details which also focus on the social history of Maharashtra. Cultural aspects gave you the new theme on it. Though culturally India was considered as one unit from early history, the modern concept of nation-state was unheard of. The process of making up modern India as a nation started with the consolidation of various parts of India under one rule, mostly between 1818 to 1947. After the independence of India in 1947, the Constitution of India was enforced since 26 January 1950. And India became a sovereign republic federal state, and Bombay Presidency of 1950 became a constituent part of the Union of India. Third aspect is, though the concept of Maratha state was seen when Shivaji, the great founder of the Maratha state, the Marathi-speaking population of today's Maharashtra state was not under one roof. In 1880, when the British confiscated the territory of Peshwa and put it under the governor of Bombay, Nagpur was under Bhosle, Kolhapur, Satara and other Maratha small states were under various feudal lords or kings as they were called. Up to 1947, the state language of Marathwada, which was under the state of Nizam, was the Urdu. It's in the language. The Marathi language spoken in Berar and Nagpur were shadowed by the influence of Hindi, which was naturally different from the Marathi language spoken by Western Maharashtra. There was the influence of Gujarati language on Khandesh. We are focusing your attention just to make you understand that Marathi-speaking region was not under one rule up to 1960. And as such, it is said that the state of today's Maharashtra was born on 1st May 1960. If we have to understand social history of Maharashtra between 1818 to 1960, we must first know the social, political, economic and cultural condition of Maharashtra before 1818 under the Peshwa rule. This will help us to compare it with the changing conditions of the region under East India Company's rule. We should divide the history of Maharashtra during 1818 to 1960 in three subtopics, namely as first, Maharashtra between 1818 to 1857 under East India Company. Second, Maharashtra between 1858 to 1947 under the British Parliament. And third, Independent India 1947 to 1960 when Maharashtra state of today was born. These three periods of the subtopics are important as you will see that first, the British administration setup, land tenure, revenue settlement and the establishment of law and judiciary, educational system which was established during the period of the East India Company's rule, which was evolved due to the Regulating Act and the other character acts that followed up to 1857, and the various laws passed by the Governor Generals to carry out the orders in the Charter Acts. Second point is that in the second subtopic is that is Maharashtra between 1858 to 1947 under the rule of British Parliament. We find the significance of this period is the establishment of social organizations like Paramhamsa Sabha, Prarthana Samaj, Theosophical Society and Vedokta movement which were advocating social reforms. B. In the same period, we find establishment of socio-political associations like the Bombay Association, Pune Sarvajanik Sabha, Indian National Congress, Bharat Sevak Samaj, which were the direct result of British administration and the economic transformation of that period. C. We see the resurgence and the insurrections of Ramoshi, Bill and Koli Rising, revolt of Vasudev Balwant Phadke and peasant unrest due to the methods used for land tenure, revenue settlements and the various laws passed by the judiciary during this period. D. The educational system spread during the period gave thought of equality, fraternity and brotherhood. It attracted the attention of the newly educated scholars like Vishnu Buva Brahmachari, Vishnu Shastri Chiplunker, Firoz Shah Mehta, K.T. Telang, M.G. Ranade and others who interpreted it in their own way, which gave birth to revivalist and nationalist movements. The next one is with the growth of nationalism, we find various political thoughts like moderates, extremists, militant nationalism, Hindu, Muslim, Sikh political organizations as based on religion. It also gave birth to non-Brahmin organization like Satyashodhak Samaj and then further split into the Republican Party and the other organization where the downtrodden organized together to get social justice. As Vidarbha was under Madhya Pradesh and Marathwada under Nizam state rule, we have to also go through the national movements and political aspirations of the people of Vidarbha and Marathwada between 1858 to 1947 as a separate unit. In the third subtopic, that Maharashtra between 1947 to 1960, we have to understand the state reorganization policy in 1956, enforcement of bigger bilingual state of Maharashtra and Gujarat, Sanyukta Maharashtra movement, Hyderabad movement of Marathi-speaking population, and formation of today's Maharashtra based on linguistic basis on 1st May 1960. Lastly, we have to know the cultural trends in Maharashtra during this period which form the social setup trends through the growth of, that is education, press, literature, Indology and historical research of the Maharashtra, fine arts during the whole period that is between 1818 to 1960. We cannot say the cultural growth of this by periodizing them, as it is a continuous process and therefore it has to be studied as one whole unit. We have separated this unit in the first unit, with the others is the socio-economic and cultural life of the Maharashtra. Students, we hope that this introductory note giving you the approaching guidelines and the major points of the reference books and the questions for self-studies on each unit, which help you to understand the process of social history, cultural history, economic history of the Maharashtra during 1818 to 1960. We wish you a success in your endeavor to learn and understanding history with the help of these guidance notes. Now, we will start our first unit of the history of Maharashtra. The title of the first unit, Maharashtra on the eve of the British conquest, social, economic, cultural and political life. Subunits are, we are started, the introduction. You will recall that the death of Aurangzeb, Mughal emperors lost strength. Mughal Sardars became independent rulers. Marathas got advantage as their help was sought by the Mughal emperors when they were in difficulties, either when they were family feuds or when they were aggressions of Nadir Shah and Ahmad Shah Abdali. It was the Maratha Empire from whom the Britishers gained power. Shahu received sanats from Mughal emperor to collect chauth and Sardeshmukhi of 6 subhats in Deccan and Gujarat, Malwa and Bundelkhand in north. But as Shahu had financial difficulties, he allowed the Maratha Sardars to collect South and Sardeshmukhi in his name. Second, to keep 66% for them. And third, send 33% into the central treasury. Thus, though Marathas became powerful, Maratha Empire became a loose confederacy known as Maratha Mandal. Shahu was at Satara while his Prime Minister Peshwa was at Pune. He looked after his confederacy in the name of Shahu. Another important thing should be remembered, that was Marathas had enemies like Rohilas in north, Nizam and Hyder in south, and Nawab of Bengal in east, who also wanted to establish their rule. They could not defeat them completely, though they cowed them down. They could not check political interference of the British and French who came to India as traders. After the death of Shahu in 1749, the kings in Satara were weak. Peshwa found it difficult to control the Maratha chiefs, who were strong and had rivalries among themselves. The third battle of Panipat was a setback for the Marathas, but Madhav Rao tried his best to save the Maratha Empire. Even after Madhav Rao's death, Nana Fadnis and Mahatji Shinde tried to save the empire. Though Raghoba fled and took refuge in British camp, in 3 battles with the British East India Company, Marathas won all these battles. But during Bajirao II, when Yashwantrao Holkar of Indore lost and devastated Pune, Bajirao fled and took shelter and accepted the subsidiary alliance system of the East India Company in 1802. Peshwa lost his independence as he could not work as the Prime Minister. The British treated all Maratha Sardars as independent kings and dealt with them separately. Bhosle, Shinde and Holkar accepted the subsidiary alliance up to 1805. Peshwa realized his mistake and tried to mobilize various Sardars to fight against the British, but they defeated him in 1818 and his territory was annexed, and thus Bombay Presidency was created under the Governor of Bombay under East India Company rule. Peshwa ruled for nearly 100 years and evolved their own system of administration which remained more or less the same up to the last Peshwa. So let us now give a cursory glance of political, socio-economical and cultural conditions during their tenures and thus understand how was the life of Maharashtra on the eve of the British conquest. Now we will see how is the political condition in Maharashtra during the last days of the Peshwa rule. Political conditions in Maharashtra. First, administration under Peshwa. The Peshwa's capital was Pune and their central office was known as Food. There were 1500 clerks under his office working all over the territory of Maratha Confederate. Pune office had 15 clerks to keep accounts and the other records of the empire, the affairs of Peshwa's territory and Satara king's region. As Pune was a state capital, it had its pomp and show. Shaniwarwada was Peshwa's residence. Its area was 200 yards in length and 150 yards in breadth. It had castle walls and 5 gates to the castles. There used to be guards near the gates and there was a garden around. There was a 6-storied building inside. On one side on the ground floor, there was a Darbar hall. On all sides of the building, there were fountains. This Wada was burst in 1827. The British regent Sir Charles Marlet came to stay at Pune in 1786. He used to visit Peshwa often. The other representations of various kingdoms also used to visit Peshwa Darbar. Bajirao II was fond of art and architecture. He built Arse Mahal in Shukravarpet, Jal Mahal near Kothrud, Vishrambagh Wada, Budwar Wada. Other Sardars also built some types of the Wada at Meerut, Sangli. Many Sardars built Wada at Pune also. In 1802, when Bajirao II accepted subsidiary alliance, Mount Stuart Elphinstone came to stay at Pune as British ambassador. He studied the revenue system of Peshwas. He had high regards for the learned Shastris and also known as Istur Fakada by the people. The British record gives lot of information about Peshwa's administration, also the capital of the Pune. Now we will see the administration of Peshwa's territory. There were 18 divisions. On each division there was a special officer. There were subdivisions under them as the divisions, Prant divisions has operated by the Subedar officer. District divisions by Mahalkari, Taluka by Mamledar, village Taraf by Havaldar, and the 2 types of the Mokasa was operated by Mukadam. Then the second, village administration. Patil and Kulkarni were the 2 main officers of the village. The collection of revenue, law and order and defense of the village was under them. The land was given for tilling to the farmers who were supposed to give revenue in kind. There were other non-farmers who gave various services to the village known as Alutedar and Balutedar. Small villages were known as Mauje. Bigger were known as Kasba. And the villages with trading facilities were known as Pet. Judiciary's administration. Peshwas accepted the judicial laws made by Shivaji the Great. Nyayadhish, that was judge, was the head of the judiciary system. They were learned Shastris who knew the ancient law books known as Smruti Grantha written by Manu, Yajnakya, Valakya, Narad, Vishnu, Bruhaspati, Kautilya and Mitakshara. The famous Ramashastri Prabhune, who pronounced death penalty to Peshwa Madhavrau's uncle Raghoba when it was found that he was a party to the assassination of Narayan Rao, brother of Madhavrao, who was their apparent. Raghoba left Pune and took refuge in British camp and thus saved his life from the famous judge Ram Shastri Prabhune's decision. There was to be 5 members in the punch, that is jury. The number used to be increased if needed. The complainant and the opponent both were given opportunity to plead their case. In villages, Patil, in Mamlat, that is Taluka, a Mamlatdar used to settle the cases. But for the cases where punishment to death was necessary, it was settled by Nyayadhish of Peshwa with his permission. Now we will see the economic condition. First, agriculture and plantation being the chief sources of income. Peshwa paid attention to water supply by way of building small canals and small dams. Farmers were given loans during monsoon. Fruits and flowers were seen in gardens. Shahu was fond of gardens, so also the Peshwas. In Pune, there were Sarasbagh, Hirabagh, Parvati Bagh, Katar Bagh, etc., which were developed by Peshwas. Land was graded as per the quality and revenue was changed accordingly. Yield for 5 years was checked by the Karkons appointed for this work, and then the revenue was fixed. It was collected in kind or in cash. When new land was given for cultivation, levy was charged less to encourage the titler. When there was famine or drought or any other calamity due to feuds or war or concessions were given in levy. As was seen earlier, the village Patil used to collect the revenue, gives the dues to Watandars, that is Balutedar and Alutedar, and then send the fixed tax in kind or in cash to the Deshmukhs of the Prants and keep the remaining sum for utilization of village requirements. Second, other sources of income were protection money, tax on holdings, fine and crime. The expenses of state were government establishment, expenditure on darbar, other servants, defense, expenditure over ruler's family, public and religious matters. Third part is the trade and commerce. Most of the trade was conducted by sea route on western coast, and the land routes which were few. Chaul, Dabhal, Rajapur were big ports. Nagothane, Mahad, Chiplun, Ratnagiri, Vengurla, Malwan were small ports. The land routes were few, but maintenance of road used to be good. Shipbuilding was an age-old industry in Maharashtra. Initially, big ships were constructed essentially for fishing. The bigger ships were known as Fateh-Mar, which were used at times for piracy. Kanoji Angred's naval power was strong during Peshwa period, but it was Nanasaheb Peshwa who defeated him with the help of British, as he did not accept the orders of Peshwa as Prime Minister. This allowed the British to raise their naval power, and there was a decline of trade and commerce of the Marathas. Shahu as well as Peshwas encouraged textile industries and brasswares in textile, cotton, silk and raw wool articles were famous. Peshwas had their representatives in Bombay who used to buy foreign goods for them. These goods were glasswares, spectacles, binoculars, wristwatches, wall clocks and mirrors, etc. Coinage, mint and the institution of moneylenders. With the growth of trade and commerce, coinage and money lending business flourished. This was conducted by private agencies with only marginal state control. Money lenders often advanced sizable loans not only to Sardars but also to the kings and Peshwas. One of such money lenders, Brahmendra Swami, had carved out a place for himself in Peshwa period. He was from Dhavadasi. There were 16 Sarafi Pedis at Pune. Peshwa owned 2 mines of precious stones, one at Thaser and the other in Bundelkhand. It is to be remembered here that after the Battle of Panipat, Maratha became weak through Madhavrao, tried to win glory and settle accounts and increase wealth in the treasury, but during later Peshwas, due to the rivalry among Sardars, non-payment of chauth collected by various Sardars in central treasury, which was attacked on Pune by Holkars, treasury at Pune suffered heavily and the condition of Peshwa's capital started deteriorating further. What was the social condition? Let us see the social condition of the Maharashtra. The social life during Peshwa reign was totally traditional. Chatur Varna and caste system prevailed. Just as it always happens, it was a decadent system. We find controversies in subcaste. The peculiar characteristics of the Peshwa period was the controversy between the Devastha and Kokanastha Brahmins, which had become proverbial. The growth of commerce and industry could hardly make any dent on the caste system. The caste panchayats were so strong and powerful and were much a part of social psyche that none could dare defy the caste panchayat, which controlled practically ever actively of social and personal life. In villages, there were altudars and balutedars who gave various services to the village. 12 alutedars were oilmen, panwala, weaver, gardener, jangam, kalavant, dabriya, thakur, gadasi, tarvel, goldsmith and chaugule. The balutedars were artisans like blacksmith, carpenter, mahar, mang, potler, shoemaker, dhobi, hair cutter, bhat, gurau, maulana and the fishermen. They were all watandars. The farmers were known as kunbi. All these alutedars, balutedars and farmers turned into various castes. Position of women. We can learn now the position of women. It was as traditional as it ought to be. There used to be early marriages. Man could marry many wives. The polygamy system was there. The difference between the boy and the girl at the time of marriage used to be more at times. The plight of the widow was sorrowful. The widow was supposed to serve the family. Some of the lower caste women were sold in open market or even bartered. There was Devdasi system, though upper caste women could get some education in reading Puranas. What is the religious condition? The religious condition in the field of the region of Maharashtra had played an important role in religious reform. The Varakari sect, Nath sect, Datta and Ramadasi sects were seen in various parts of the territories of Peshwa. The peculiar feature of all these sects were their belief in unity of all sects, more particularly the Shaiva and Vaishnava sect. The women, untouchables, lower caste, upper caste, Varkaris were treated equal religious levels, though their caste were different. They were bound by caste panchayats and other tradition on social levels. The Hindus being idol worshippers, different deities and different duties had carved out a place for themselves in different parts and different layers of society. Ganpati was the most popular deity in Konkan. With the Peshwa's rule, the deity Ganesh overshadowed the importance of Vitthal and Khandoba, which were the deities of the common man. Adishakti Devi was also deity of the some caste. Peshwa gave Inam land for temples. Peshwas and with their sardars built various Shiva and Ganesh temples. Nana Sahib Peshwa built Shukantareshwar on Pune-Satara road. Parvati temple was built at Pune. Sufi saints also had a prominent place in religious life. Their religious centers were exist all over Maharashtra. Education. How is the education? The language they spoke was Marathi, which was also a part of the state language. There was no special educational system evolved. The Hindus learnt in Pathashala and Muslims in Madrasa and Maktab, as religious education was the education throughout the period. However, man-to-man system of education, which had precolated the families as per the caste, was available to children. They learned traditions and rituals of their caste from their families. The members of Peshwa family, being Brahmins, learned the ritual from Vedas, and women learned to read Puranas. The records of that period show that the Peshwas followed many rituals, gave dakshina to the Brahmins, and used to invite many Brahmins for feast they would arrange. Thus, they spent lot of money for religious purposes. Dresses and ornaments. Dresses of man were the angarkha, jagga, parabandi as upper garment, dhoti was lower garment and dupattas, pagotes as head dress. Ladies used to wear 9-yard sari, paithani, pitambar and choli. Shaila and khacholi would have over the saris. Girls would have petticoat and choli. Men and women in upper caste used to wear ornaments. Men would have big bali, a ring worn in upper part of the ear, chaukda in lower part of the ear, pearl necklace, kantha, golden or of costly stones, rings of diamond or gold. For children, there would be golden or silver lace around the waist, anklets, earrings and necklace. For women, these used to be golden, pearl, diamond, emerald necklace, earrings, rings, pochi, rings in all 5 fingers with a golden chain, that is pochi, bangles, mangalsutra for married women. So far, we have discussed the life of the Maharashtra people under the Peshwa territory. Life in Bombay, which is also part of the Maharashtra, today was different since the Bombay was developing as a cosmopolitan and metropolitan city. Though the caste and subcaste, their caste panchayats prevailed. Conclusion. Though Maharashtra is a part of India, it had its peculiarities and traditions due to the historical and the geographical condition of its land. Information about this period is available in Peshwa Daftar, preserved by the British, and writings of Grandad, Elphinstone, Malcolm and such British officers who stayed in Maharashtra and studied political, social and economical life of the people. This condition changed completely when Maharashtra came under the direct rule of the British. British developed Bombay as an international port and as a metropolitan city and the cosmopolitan capital city, while Pune lost its grandeur as a capital. Though due to the Pune Climate, it was a summer capital of Bombay Presidency. Slowly it developed as the cultural center, as educational, socio-political institutions during the British period were established in Pune. Question for self-study. Describe the administration of Maharashtra under the Peshwa rule. Second question. Write critical note on sources of income of Peshwa territory. Third question. What is the characteristics of the capital of the Peshwa? Fourth one. Write a short note on Balutedar and Alutedar system. Fifth one. Discuss the various significances and the changes of the dresses and ornaments during the Peshwa period. Fifth one, narrate the social and the religious life during the Peshwa's rule. Sixth one, trace the factors that led to the significance of the administration and political changes introductory by the Britisher in Maharashtra. The books used for this study, for this unit, as the author Ravindra Kumar, Western India in the 19th Century. The Cotton, Mount Stuart Elphiston. B.R. Suktankar, Maharashtra in the 19th Century, Volume 1st. Ballet Chet, Social Policy and Social Change in Western India. Another book is The Choksi, The Last Phase. And the last book is G.W. Forrest, who was the editor, and his book is The Official Writings of Mount Stuart Elphiston. The last part of this unit is the cultural conditions on the Maharashtra on the eve of the British conquest, the cultural life. In the culture, we can see in detail in the last unit that the education, literature, fine arts, art and architecture, religious conditions, etc. We have discussed the art, music, drama, and dance and paintings, while are the role of press, the spread of social and public education for the creation of the public opinion, development of literature, influence of English literature on the forms and the contents. We are discussing the education system in the Maharashtra in the another unit in a detailed manner. So the literature during the period of your study is there were the three types of this literature. First, the difference in the development of the prose writing. Second, due to the influence of Western literature, we find different forms and contents in Marathi literature. And third, the missionaries who came to India to propagate Christianity had to learn various Indian languages. They translated Bible in original languages. They established printing press in India for printing of books, leaflets. The American missionaries brought Devanagari type of the printing of Marathi literature for the propagation in 1817. The Scottish mission established schools in rural areas. They developed books on grammar and dictionaries. The first governor of Bombay Presidency, Mr. Mount Stuart Elphiston, established Native School Book Society. This society was given a grant of £5,000 for school books in Marathi and English. Pathshalas were established in Pune and Satara, wherein Vedic literature, the science of law, regional grammar were taught in Marathi. This gave a new dimension to Marathi literature. Many books were translated from Sanskrit, Ardhamagadi, Pali and other regional languages, as well as the English, German, France, that is European languages. Different literacy forms like essay, playwriting, novels, short stories, poetry, 3 acts, 1 act plays, etc. were tried by various authors of 19th and 20th century. For this, they required grammar books and dictionaries. Shastris from Pune and Bombay helped to publish Marathi Dictionary in 1929, and Molesworth published Marathi English Dictionary in 1831. Books for medicine, physician, mechanics, mathematics, astrology, etc. were translated from European languages. Let us now see the prominent authors of particular periods who gave dominant the minds of people. Balshastri Jambekar established a weekly Darpan and monthly Digdarshan. Bau Mahajan started Prabhakar. The missionary started Jnanodaya. Lok Hitwadi, that is Gopal Hari Deshmukh, wrote his Shatapatra in Prabhakar discussing various social, religious and political issues. In 1848, Students' Literacy and Scientific Society was established in Pune. In 1851, Dakshina Prize Committee was formed in Pune, Bombay University, which was established in 1857, and with their help, Parshuram Tatya Godbole, Sadashiv Amrapurkar and Bapat Shastri translated Sanskrit plays in Marathi. Reverend Baba Padmanji wrote first Marathi novel Yamuna Paryatan. From 1867, essay writing had many dimensions. A Vivid Jnan Vistar, a magazine, continued its work of publishing essays for nearly 60 years. Vishnu Shastri Chiplunker wrote in this magazine for nearly 8 years, that is up to 1882. Keshri and Maratha of Tilak discussed the political thought from 1887, then Agarkar's Sudharak opened that social reforms are more essential for improvement of the people of Maharashtra. Historian V.K. Rajwade was with him to propagate the first social revolution in equally important as political revolution. We can see the Indology and historical researchers also was very important, but the cultural conditions of the Maharashtra was the fine art. Maharashtra has a very long tradition of fine arts. The world famous Ajanta and Ellora and the caves of the Elephant Islands near Bombay, the caves near Borivali called Canary Caves, and caves at the Karla and Bhaza, and partly given up caves at many places all over Maharashtra, speak for all sides interest in arts in Maharashtra of the period. In the field of music and stage craft, Bombay can said to be the pioneer city in India, which gave a rich patronage to all fine arts, including music, drama, dance, and painting, etc. With the downfall of the princely states, patronage of the arts was almost drying up. During this very period, Bombay was flourishing with trade, commerce, and industries. The artists from different parts of the country, therefore, came to Bombay, and a good number of them settled down in Bombay or other parts of Maharashtra. Musicians like Chota Gangadhar, Mogubai, Kishori Amankar, Guni Gandhar, Bimal Joshi are famous classified singers. It is not worthy that the first ever music club of India was established in Bombay by Parsis. The hometown of Urdu stage is also Bombay. The entry of classical music on Marathi stage was via Urdu stage. The Marathi stage was more influenced by the traditional folk music of Tamasha or the Kirtan, which was patronized by Peshwa. The J.J. School of Art and Industries are also as an institution of great pride for Maharashtra. The first university introduced degree course in painting and music, which is the SNDT Women's University. The member Art of Audio Visual Film Industry was established in Maharashtra before anywhere else in 1895. The first ever degree course in the cinematography was first started at Pune in Maharashtra. Drama articles in Maharashtra. It is said that the Maharashtrians are fond of drama. At times, it is said that they are mad after drama. Vishnudas Bhave, the first staged his play in Sangli state in 1843. His drama used to have a name Vidushak, who would explain the basic theme to the audience. Modern Marathi drama articles has started from 1861. In 1942, Jagannath Shankar Sheth constructed Deshi Natak Gruha in Bombay. In 1880, famous Kirloskar Natya Mandal was established. They staged plays like the Shakuntal, Subhadra, Kichavada, Shiva Sambhava. In 1921, Gaudhave and Laligal Darshan staged for Tilak Swarajya Fund, which is not worthy. Another famous institution was the Natya Manvantar, which was established in 1932. In post-war period, we find the subjects like the village life, village personalities, middle class life with their new problems are seen in films. These stage articles gave a fillip to the playwriting, stagecraft, drapery. It is also to be noted that university professor, European and Indian, helped the stage artist. When Hamlet, Othello, Macbeth, King Lear, Comedy of Errors, Tanning of the Shoe, etc. were staged. Professor helped them in acting and pronunciation. Professor Vasudev Ketkar, Ganpatrao Bhagwat were the pioneer in this field. We find plays without music and plays with music were famous. These plays were different for English opera. The princely states of Kolhapur, Sangli, Miraj, Baroda, Ichalkaranji gave patronage to drama clubs. Kirloskar, Shahu Nagarvasi, Lalit Kala, Gandharva, Balwant Natya Mandir flourished up to 1930. The cinema developed in Nasik, Bombay, Pune and Kolhapur. Sri Dadasaheb Phalke, Bhavrao Painter, Anantrao Misri were the pioneers of this film industry. Due to the Great Depression, faced setback, but revival of drama was the Mumbai Sahitya Sangha. So on the initiative of the Dr. Bhale Rao, a drama theatre is established in Bombay. The questions for the self-study. Write a short notes on the Jyotiba Phule School, Tilak Vidyapita Pune education. How did the Western literature influence Marathi literature? Discuss the progress and development of the Students' Literary and Students' Society. Write a short note on Royal Asiatic Library. Discuss the various research institute. Discuss the role of Bombay in the growth of fine arts and the music. Describe the different various types of the paintings, music and the performing arts in Bombay. The books for study for this is one. The author Deshpande and Rajadhyaksha, a history of Marathi literature. The second, the Saraswatik, that's the art. Natarajan B, a history of the press in India. Then the Vamanrao Deshpande, Maharashtra's contribution to music. Popli, the music of India. And the Mulak Raj Anand, the Indian theatre. Thank you.